First contact and invasion. They appeared without warning. On a quiet Tuesday morning, the Vexeri fleet materialized in Earth's orbit. Massive obsidian vessels that blotted out the stars and cast kilometer-long shadows across the planet's surface. 700 ships forming a constellation of death above every major city, their dark hulls absorbing sunlight rather than reflecting it. The world stood still. Phone calls mid-sentence hung in silence. Cars stopped in traffic. Humanity collectively held its breath. The message came simultaneously to every screen on Earth. Phones, televisions, computers, billboards. A figure appeared, tall and serpentine, with silvery scales that caught the light of unfamiliar stars. Its 4 eyes blinked independently, each a different shade of violet. When it spoke, its voice resonated with a harmonic quality that made human ears ring. "People of Earth," it said, the translation flowing beneath its moving mouthparts. "I am Supreme Commander Vex Talon of the Vexari Dominion. Your world has been selected for integration. You are primitive. You are divided. You are weak. Submit now, and we offer painless absorption into our empire. Resist, and we offer extinction. You have 6 Earth hours to surrender your governing bodies to our authority." The transmission cut. Chaos erupted. In Washington, D.C., President Ramirez convened an emergency meeting of world leaders. In Beijing, military commanders prepared missile strikes. In New Delhi, civilians began evacuating. In Lagos, religious leaders held mass prayers. The response was fractured, panicked. Exactly what the Vexeri had anticipated from a species they considered primitive and unworthy. But in a small research lab in Seattle, Dr. Maya Chen watched the alien broadcast for the 12th time, scribbling furiously in her notebook. She wasn't looking at the alien's words. She was studying its eyes, its micro-expressions, the subtle shifts in its posture. "They're lying," she whispered to her assistant, Alex. "Look at the third eye. It dilates when they mention extinction but contracts when they speak of surrender. They don't want to absorb us. They want something else." Maya had spent 15 years developing what she called the Echo Protocol, an algorithm designed to detect patterns in communication across species. It was meant for dolphin and whale research, but now she was recalibrating it desperately, feeding in the alien's message. "What are we going to do?" Alex asked, voice trembling. Maya looked up, her face set with determination. What humans always do when backed into a corner. Something completely unexpected. The 6-hour deadline came and went. The Vexari, true to their word, began the attack. Precision energy beams sliced through Shanghai's financial district. Sydney's harbor boiled as alien dropships landed. Moscow erupted in flames as antimatter bombs detonated across the city center. But something unexpected happened. Humanity didn't break. It didn't surrender. In the smoldering ruins of Moscow, 12-year-old Sofia Petrov grabbed her grandmother's old Soviet-era radio and began broadcasting. "They've taken the Kremlin," she reported in a shaking voice. "But the metro stations are safe. I repeat, the metro stations are holding." In Sydney, surfers used their knowledge of the harbor currents to rescue families trapped by the alien forces, navigating through underwater passages the Vexeri sensors couldn't detect. In rural Wyoming, a network of amateur ham radio operators established the first global communication, grid independent of internet or satellite. Technology so outdated the aliens didn't bother to jam it. By the 3rd day, President Ramirez managed to broadcast from a hidden bunker. "We will not surrender. We will not be absorbed. We are humanity. We've survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own self-destructive tendencies. We will survive this." The Vexeri response was swift and merciless. New York, Tokyo, and Cairo vanished in flashes of light so bright they were visible from space, billions dead in minutes. Supreme Commander Vex Talon broadcast again, his harmonic voice now tinged with something new. Frustration. "Your resistance is irrational," he stated. "Your cities burn. Your militaries fall. Submit and spare yourselves further suffering. But Maya Chen had made a breakthrough. The Echo Protocol had analyzed not just the alien speech patterns, but the embedded frequencies in their transmissions. She sent her findings through the ham radio network. The Vexari weren't conquerors. They were harvesters. They didn't want Earth's land or even its people. They wanted its water, specifically, the unique molecular composition of Earth's oceans, different from any planet they'd encountered. They need us to surrender willingly, Maya explained to the resistance leaders who had gathered in her lab, now relocated to an abandoned mine shaft in Colorado. Their religion forbids taking resources by force. It taints the purity. They need us to give it to them, which explains why they're trying to break us rather than simply taking what they want. Among those listening was Captain James Rodriguez, formerly of the U.S. Marine Corps, now leading a ragtag group of survivors. His face was scared from a close encounter with a Vexari scout ship, his left arm replaced with a crude prosthetic made from salvaged alien tech. "So they have a weakness," he said, eyes glinting. "They have rules they won't break." Beside him sat Aiko Tanaka, once a video game developer, now the architect of the most successful guerrilla attacks against the Vexari ground forces. She had reprogrammed consumer drones to recognize and target alien neural patterns. "Rules can be exploited," she said, fingers never stopping their movement across her tablet. "If they need our surrender to be legitimate, we make sure they never get it." The third member of their unlikely council was Dr. Ibrahim Kosi, a geologist from Kenya who had discovered that the aliens couldn't operate effectively near certain mineral deposits. "We can use the planet against them," he suggested. "Lead them to areas rich in disruptive elements." Maya nodded, but her expression remained grave. "It won't be enough. They're still technologically superior. We need something more. We need to make them question their own superiority." As if in response to her words, the bunker shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. The Vexari had found them. "No time like the present," Rodriguez said, checking his weapon, a modified rifle that fired shells coated in the minerals Ibrahim had identified. "Let's show these four-eyed snakes what humanity does when backed into a corner." They emerged to chaos. Vexari troops, 8-limbed soldiers in exosuits, were pouring from dropships. The human resistance fighters were holding them back with everything from modified weapons to farming equipment. Maya clutched the portable version of the Echo Protocol device. "I need to get to their command ship," she shouted over the explosions. "The device can disrupt their neural network, but only at the source." Rodriguez nodded grimly. "Then that's where we're going." He looked at Echo and Ibrahim. "You with me?" They nodded without hesitation. As night fell over the burning remains of what was once Colorado, 4 humans made an impossible plan: infiltrate the Vexari command ship hovering in low orbit, deploy the Echo Protocol at its communication hub, and give humanity its one slim chance at survival. What they didn't know was that Supreme Commander Vextalon was watching them specifically, his 4 violet eyes narrowed in confusion. In 300 planetary conquests, he had never seen anything like these humans. These fragile, short-lived creatures who simply refused to accept defeat. They fascinated him. They disturbed him. They made him doubt. And in the vast calculation of galactic conquest, doubt was the one variable the Vexari had never accounted for. Defiance and victory. The Vexari command ship loomed like a midnight sun against Earth's atmosphere, a massive obsidian sphere ringed with pulsing violet energy. Getting there seemed impossible, but impossibility had become humanity's specialty in the weeks since the invasion began. "Their patrol patterns have a 3-minute gap on the eastern quadrant," Echo explained, showing the team the simulation she'd built based on observation data. "If we time it perfectly, we can slip through in a modified shuttle." The shuttle in question was a Frankenstein creation, part human spacecraft, part salvaged Vexari technology. Ibrahim had reinforced its hull with the minerals that disrupted alien sensors, while Rodriguez had overseen the weapon systems. It wasn't pretty, But it didn't need to be. It just needed to work once. Maya clutched the Echo Protocol device to her chest. The small metal box contained humanity's best hope, an algorithm that could potentially tap into the Vexuri's neural network and create a cascade of doubt through their entire command structure. The theory was sound. The execution would be the challenge. "We'll only get one shot at this," Rodriguez reminded them as they prepared for launch. "Once we're aboard, we have approximately 20 minutes before their systems identify us as intruders." Ibrahim smiled grimly. "Then we better not waste a single second." The launch was clandestine. No countdown, no mission control, just 4 humans in a cobbled-together spacecraft accelerating through the night sky toward an alien vessel that could obliterate them with a single energy pulse. They held their breath as they approached the patrol gap, slipping through exactly as Aiko had predicted. "They're not detecting us," she whispered, though there was no one to hear them in the vacuum of space. Docking was another miracle. Ibrahim's mineral coating masked their approach, and Aiko's hacked Vexuri codes granted them entry through a maintenance portal. They entered the alien ship in atmosphere suits, weapons ready. The interior was otherworldly. Corridors that seemed to shift and breathe, lighting that responded to thought rather than physical switches, and gravity that ebbed and flowed like tides. They moved quietly, following the map Aiko had constructed from stolen data. "Command center should be 2 levels up," she murmured into her comms. "But there's heavy security." Rodriguez took point, his rifle at the ready. "Then we don't go through security. We go around it." Using Ibrahim's knowledge of the disruptive minerals, they created small diversions, leaving mineral samples that caused the ship's systems to glitch and redirected security forces away from their path. It was working until they reached the central junction, where they came face to face with their first Vexuri soldier. The alien was tall, nearly 9 feet, with the same silvery scales and multiple eyes as their commander. It reached for a weapon, but Rodriguez was faster, firing a single shot coated in Ibrahim's mineral compound. The alien didn't fall, it froze, its neural pathways temporarily scrambled. "That won't hold for long," Ibrahim warned. They doubled their pace, racing through the shifting corridors until they reached the command center entrance. Beyond it lay the neural hub, the central network that connected all Vexuri consciousness across their fleet. "This is it," Maya said, activating the Echo Protocol device. "Once we connect this to their system, it will introduce subtle cognitive dissonance into their group mind. Not enough to harm them, but enough to make them question their mission here." The door to the command center opened, and they found themselves face to face with Supreme Commander Vex Talon himself, surrounded by his officers. His 4 violet eyes widened in what might have been surprise or respect. "Humans," he said, his voice carrying that same harmonic quality that had first addressed Earth weeks ago. "You have fought well, but your resistance ends here." Rodriguez raised his weapon, but Maya stepped forward, Echo Protocol in hand. "We're not here to fight you, Commander. We're here to show you something." She activated the device, which began emitting a sequence of pulses, light, sound, and electromagnetic frequencies calibrated specifically to the Vexuri neural pattern. The effect was immediate. The aliens stiffened, their eyes blinking in disjointed patterns. "What is this?" Vex Talon demanded, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. "We call it the Echo Protocol," Maya explained. "It's showing you the truth, that we are not what you thought we were. We are not weak. We are not primitive. We are humanity, and we write our own destiny." The device continued its work, feeding directly into the ship's neural hub. Across the Vexuri fleet, a wave of uncertainty rippled through the collective consciousness. For the first time in their millennia of conquest, doubt entered their unified mind. On screens around the command center, they could see Vexuri ships hesitating, weapon systems powering down, soldiers standing motionless. The Echo Protocol wasn't controlling them. It was simply showing them the truth they had ignored. That humanity's strength lay not in technology or unified purpose, but in their stubborn refusal to ever give up. Vextalon approached Maya, his massive form looming over her. For a tense moment, Rodriguez had his finger on the trigger, ready to fire. But then the Supreme Commander did something unexpected. He lowered himself to her level, his four eyes meeting hers. "In 300 conquests," he said, his voice quieter now, "I have never encountered a species like yours. You were outnumbered, outgunned. By all logical calculation, you should have surrendered within hours. Yet here you stand, aboard my command ship, armed with not a weapon of destruction, but a tool of understanding." Maya nodded. "That's humanity's greatest strength, Commander. Not our weapons or our technology, but our capacity to adapt, to unite in crisis, to face impossible odds and still believe we can win." Throughout the ship, through the neural network that connected the entire Vexeri fleet, this realization spread like wildfire. The species that had conquered hundreds of worlds was experiencing something entirely new: respect for an enemy. Vextalon rose to his full height and turned to his officers. "Cease all planetary operations," he ordered. "Withdraw ground forces. We will not harvest this world." The silence that followed was broken by Ibrahim's whispered, "Did we just win?" The withdrawal began immediately. Across Earth, people emerged from hiding to see Vexeri ships ascending, their dark hulls no longer threatening but retreating. In the command center, Vextalon faced the four humans who had changed the course of the invasion. "Your water remains unique in our explorations," he said, "but we will find another source, one not defended by such formidable consciousness. Or," Maya suggested, "we could establish trade, peaceful exchange. There's much our species could learn from each other." The commander's four eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture they now understood indicated thoughtful consideration. "Perhaps, in time. For now, know this. I will inform the Dominion that Earth is to be marked in our star charts with a unique designation, home to the species that writes its own destiny." As the humans returned to Earth aboard a Vexeri escort vessel, they watched the massive fleet vanish into hyperspace, not in defeat, but in something closer to mutual respect. The planet below them was scared, burning in places, with millions lost. But it had survived. Humanity had survived. Within days, the same ingenuity that had fueled their resistance turned toward rebuilding. The mineral compounds Ibrahim had discovered provided new energy sources. Echo's work with alien technology revolutionized communication systems. Maya's Echo Protocol became the foundation for a new understanding of consciousness itself. And Rodriguez, the warrior, found himself teaching others not how to fight, but how to make peace from a position of strength. 6 months after the Vexeri withdrew, a message arrived from deep space, transmitted on frequencies only recently understood by human scientists. It was brief, but clear. "To the species that writes its own destiny, the galaxy now watches. Other empires, other conquerors may come, but they have been warned. Earth is not primitive. Earth is not weak. Earth is home to humanity, the species that refuse to lose." The message spread across the recovering planet, translated into every language, broadcast on every frequency, not as a threat or warning, but as a reminder of what they had discovered about themselves when pushed to the edge of extinction. They were humanity, and no power in the universe could dictate their fate but themselves.